So calculate the sum of this geometric series. Sometimes this is a good example of one where you're like, okay, as far as a good strategy, I want to use this formula. So I write out the formula with all of the stuff that I need. And then off to the side, I start listing what do I want to find. Do I know term 1? Yes. I know term 1 is negative 3. Do I know what I'm multiplying by each time? Well, it's not hard to figure out. Negative 3 to negative 15, multiply by 5, multiply by 5. So I've got term 1, I've got r. Do I know n? Okay, now we have a problem. I don't know n. So I'm going to make a note. I need to find n first. Because right now, in this question, I knew term 1, I knew r, I want to find this, and I also don't know this. If there are two things in a formula that you don't know, you cannot solve for that formula. So in order to solve for this formula, we need n. So we have to go to our other formulas. Do we have any other formulas for geometric sequences? Yes. I have this formula for geometric sequences. Do I know term 1? Yes. Do I know r? Yes. I'm solving for n, so then I need to know term n. Does it make sense that term n is our last term, which is negative 46,875? Because if there are 15 terms, then this would be term 15. If there are 20 terms, this is term 20. We don't know how many terms, but we know that our last term is 46,875. So again, this is where sometimes formulas are confusing. Sometimes Tn, well, what is Tn? It's a general term. It can be any term. Sometimes we need to use Tn to be the last term because we want to know how many there are. And if we know the last one is negative 46,875, we can solve for n. So now I'm able to plug in negative 46,875 for Tn. I know T1 is negative 3, thank you. And I know that r is 5 to the n minus 1. I want to solve for n, so I'm going to get my power all by itself, divide both sides by negative 3. (15,625). And at this point in your mathematical career, you do not know how to do this other than guess and check, or all right, educated guesses. So we need to take out our calculator and try. Is 15,625 5 to the 5? Oh, not big enough. Now, educated guesses would say, if you just guess, you might say, oh, I tried 5 to the 5. It wasn't enough. I'll guess another number, 5 to the 1. That's a stupid guess. That's not a very smart guess, because you already knew that 5 to the 5 wasn't enough. Okay? 5 to the 1 also, you should be able to do mental math to see that that's 5. 5 squared would also be not very smart choice. Because you know 5 squared is 25. So I'm going to try something bigger. I might even do a little mental math and say, if I times this by 5, does it look like, ooh, it looks like it might get close. So my next guess is 5 to the 6. And I get it. Another not good educated guess would be to like, oh, I'll try 5 to the 100. Right? So we're not just randomly guessing. We are using intelligence here. And we figured out that 15,625 is 5 to the 6. Mathematically, I would write it as 5 to the 6 and keep this side to the same. And here, too, you should now be able to just look at this and tell me what n is. If 5 to the 6 equals 5 to something minus 1, what does the something have to be to make it equal to 6? It has to be 7. Okay. So we did all of that first just to get n. And now we know there's 7 terms. And this question asked us to find the sum. So now we can find sum of the first 7 terms. We know term 1 is negative 3. We know that r was 5. And it's now going to be the exponent 7 because we know what n is. Okay, practice typing this into your calculator. I will type it into my calculator as well. I got negative 58,593. So these are usually 3-mark questions on quizzes and tests because you have to do something with one formula first to find out a value, then use another formula. Okay? These questions that use two formulas are generally considered a little bit more difficult. Okay? When do you know when you have to use 2 formulas? Well, when you try to use one and you don't have enough information. Then you have to look to see if you can get that information somewhere else. Okay, question 9 you can circle. And I will give you about 6 minutes right now to try that before we go on to the last question.